Hi, I'm Judith Royal. I'm an archetypal astrologer, and let me tell you, there's some good news in the weather forecast in the heavens. We are now on the other side of that new 500-year cycle that was marked by the meetup of Sheriff Saturn and powerful Pluto on January the 12th. Of course, I was watching for the archetypal story of this event to march across the world stage, which is often the news headlines. And also, these archetypes frequently show up in box office bonanza movies. So, as I looked at the events in the days leading up to this news cycle, I want to share with you the reasons to hope for better times and for happiness in your own life, and not succumb to the interpretations, as it were, that the ego might make of the events as they're occurring in your own personal life, as well as on the world stage. Since the time of ancient mariners, we've looked to the stars for guidance because they have a beautifully rhythmic and predictable cycle, even when we are absolutely lost geographically and otherwise on this planet Earth. First, I'm going to give you the broad horizon of the shifts that we have now since the tipping point. And then I'm going to help you sort of bring that down into your personal life and see how it is manifesting. January 2020, I was watching for the two main astrological events, which was the eclipse in Cancer on January the 10th, and then that meetup of Saturn and Pluto on the 12th. So would you believe the coincidence, the amazing synchronicity? I wish I had a bell to ring for that. On the hour, the exact hour of the lunar eclipse, which was noon on Friday, January 10th, I had pop up in my visual field a reporter from the San Diego Union Tribune. His name was Gary Robbins. He posted a story about a San Diego college student and her family members who were killed in the Ukrainian crash, January the 8th. He noted that Iran lied initially, that it had unintentionally shot down the plane and blamed human error. This is sort of the way we're accustomed to people rolling out the usual lies and avoid telling us the truth. But you see, now under this new cycle and under this new energy of integrity, truth-telling, and the right use of power, something shifted. In fact, the Iranian people protested in the streets very loudly to their own government, insisting that the government tell the people the truth of what happened. And as I'm telling you this, imagine in your own self that you are, in fact, insisting on the lies you've told yourself being uncovered. You really want to know how you can free yourself from the ego's disastrous dictates. In fact, those little dictators we have in our minds, old tapes from conditioning of long ago, and they're simply not going to work anymore. And that's very good news. So the press saying, oh, we're not to blame because it was just human error, that lie did not work anymore. That outworn and old slogan from the rebellious 60s of power to the people, it has now come home to roost, so to speak. You are to find your own inner power where you see your absolute magnificence and you stop playing with littleness, especially the little lies that would support ideas like you're not lovable or you're not worthy or you're not worth the effort of making a vigilant change in your mind in order to be happy. As you listen to these events, and I'm going to number them out for you, I want you to realize that this is the way the stars and the resonant energy of the heavens fall to earth as little synchronicities, amazing coincidences that are lights on the path that we're meant to take. Here's how the transformational energy that wants to transform our societal systems is actually working. So, I'm going to walk you through the steps. So, first of all, on January 3rd, President Trump ordered the assassination by drone, by machine, of a major general in Baghdad. And so this was assassination by drone, as it were. That was January 3rd. The next thing that happened is that Iran retaliated by shooting missiles into American air bases in Iraq. The next part, on Wednesday, January 8th, a passenger flight 752 crashed, killing all 176 passengers on board. Iran's government at first blamed the pilots of the Flight 752 for veering into military zone. On January 9th, the U.S. stated that it was highly likely that an Iranian anti-aircraft missile had downed the Ukrainian plane. By January 11th, and so this is the day sandwiched between the lunar eclipse and the big meetup for the new 500-year cycle. So on January the 11th, there were many protesters in the street shouting, basically they were saying death to liars. I'm not suggesting we should kill liars. That would wipe out most of the population. But they were basically calling out the lies. And that's what, on the personal level, we are doing with our own selves. Not calling out the lies of what people have told us or what we think people have told us, but more importantly, the lies that we have been telling our own selves. And the clue to your personal lies will be the feeling of guilt, because almost always these lies turn on who's to blame. The fact that through technology, which is our saving grace in this new 500-year cycle, we had all of this up-to-date news every minute, every hour, right in our living rooms if we wanted to see it. And like so many of us, were touched by the story of a mother who boarded that passenger plane with her 2 teenage daughters, returning from a holiday visit in Iran to the United States and on to Canada, where the daughters were going back to school and the mother, a lawyer, was going back to work. And she did not know, as they took their seats, that that was going to be the last 2 minutes she would ever talk with them or see them again. World tragedies like this are no longer what happens to somebody else. We no longer have that used to be comfortable distance that, oh, that was them and not me. Now, as we're in this age where we are all one, where our minds are connected, where what happens to one of us happens to all of us, and we are crying with the relatives of those slain passengers. It doesn't change the sadness or grief of those relatives, or does it? From my own personal experience, I can say that knowing that I was not alone in my grief made an enormous difference for me. And when I see that the pattern of the stars overhead can mirror an event like this on Earth, it gives me a way for transcendent perception, that I can see past the story being played out in our world and know that collectively we have agreed to play our part in this very moment of history. 2020 is the time for healed perception, where we see the love and the caring in all of us and all of those relatives. And we look past the fear and the blaming to the exquisite, fragile nature of our lives. And you can know if you had a bad day, maybe your car had a flat tire, whatever, but you can know that there are literally 1 billion people on this planet who would trade place with you in a heartbeat. That helps me have the gratitude in my heart just swells to overflowing. I know that the spirit of love is hovering all around us and through us. I call it angels. You can call it whatever you want: goodwill, empathy, compassion, all the same thing. And so we have had a lot of planets in earth signs, so we've had these very down-to-earth experiences. And if you have your sun or moon in an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, you have really experienced this at the gut level. For Capricorn is leading us step by persevering step to be the author of our own lives, such that you can look at whatever is happening and ask, what do I want this to mean for me? By the end of this month, March of 2020, we now begin the shift into Aquarius air signs and away from the rather heavy influence of Capricorn Earth. So all of you air signs out there, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, you finally get to take more than one deep breath of life, because we're moving into that humanitarian view, literally the view of we are all one. For the full moon coming in Virgo on March the 9th, you can watch what is illuminated in terms of a new love, because there is an exciting conjunction at that time from the god of lightning with Venus, the goddess of love. And we want our relationships not only to be free and loving, we want to have them without the old limitations, like we are still using the term tying the knot to symbolize commitment in a relationship. And you fire signs out there, you really get your springtime boost with the new moon in Aries on March the 22nd. This is literally your springtime, and spring for all of us began on the spring equinox, March 20th, when the sun marched into fiery Aries. We are all now have that warrior pioneering energy for blazing new trails. And remember, that gets added to that wonderful Uranus, Venus, inspiration for new love and new ways to love and relationships. We're all in for healing of our relationship because Chiron, the symbol of the wounded healer, is also in Aries, right next to this sun and new moon on March 24th. And for you water signs, of course, you've had the sun in Pisces really helping you out with empathy, with actual clairvoyance, and probably having epiphany after spiritual epiphany, because Neptune, the visionary planet, is also in Pisces. And as soon as the sun leaves Pisces for Aries on the equinox, you're still in great shape because Messenger Mercury will show up in Pisces at that same time. And we have opportunities for poetry and songwriting and music of all kinds. While Mercury was retrograde in Pisces, and he turned into direct motion on the 9th of March, we began to take those lyrics that we wrote silently in our head and put them to music that we can sing together, always under the light of the moon, because, of course, we all love the look up at the stars and the moon at night. And it does always serve as a reminder that just as the moon is reflecting the light of the sun, we are reflecting the light of our Creator into the darkest hours on earth. And oh, this seems almost contrived, but honestly, this poem is just laying in front of me, so I'll end by sharing it with you. It's basically an old Sufi story, and it's about a man, Mullah Nasruddin, who is sort of famous or infamous in his town for his philosophical and spiritual pronouncements. So the story goes that one day, Mullah Nasruddin walks into a tea house, and he just stands there inside the doorway, and he declares, "The moon is more valuable than the sun." And all of the people, having grown used to this type of behavior from Nasruddin, they say in unison, "Oh, how come?" And Mullah Nasruddin replies, "Because at night we need the light more." We are meant to see the light. Actually, we are meant to see the light in everyone and everything. That's our new definition of 2020 healed perception, perfect vision. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back with some more star-studded hope very soon. And you can always reach me, Judith at judithroyal.com, if you'd like to explore your individual stars. So, bye for now.